Hi, this is Michelle Kasky from Homeschool-Your-Boys.com, and normally I talk to you about homeschooling or parenting boys, but today I would like to talk to you about something that is even more important than either one of those topics, and that is your marriage. My husband and I have been married for 19 years. We just celebrated our 19th anniversary a couple of days ago. Something we have always done when our anniversary comes around is to have the boys go to my in-laws' house for at least a couple of days, sometimes as long as 3 or 4 days. And my husband and I will just get to spend some quality time alone together, reconnecting after a busy year, talking about something other than our boys or other than homeschooling, learning what kinds of goals each of us have for the coming year, or talking, kind of reevaluating things and talking to each other about how things have gone in the previous year. And this time has been absolutely wonderful for both of us. My husband and I both feel very refreshed and reconnected after we have this time alone together, and we appreciate time as a family again even more when our boys return. And it's just an amazing time for my husband and I, and something that I would greatly recommend to everyone. But no matter what you do, it's very important that you put your marriage and your husband before your kids and before homeschooling. It's hard enough as a regular parent to be able to focus on your spouse. There are so many demands in our lives. We have kids that are kind of like the squeaky wheel, they need our attention and they need us to spend a lot of time and effort on them. And that's normal and natural. But we also need to see if we can find ways to be able to spend time focusing on our spouse. And this shouldn't just be an afterthought. This is extremely important. If we are going to have marriages that stand the test of time, we've got to work on our relationship with our spouse. With as busy as life is, this is not just going to happen by chance. We have got to be intentional to set up these encounters. Like I said a few minutes ago, my husband and I make it a point every year on our anniversary to spend a few days alone without the distractions of children or regular life responsibilities. We focus in on each other and reconnecting and making sure that I know what's going on in my husband's mind and he knows what's going on in my mind, and just kind of discovering that joy of being together again. And I think that is a wonderful way to be intentional about reconnecting or staying connected with your spouse, and it doesn't have to cost a lot of money. Like I said, we have our boys go to my in-laws' house and we can stay home. We've been married 19 years, and there have been maybe 2 or 3 times in that 19 years when we have gone away and spent the night somewhere else. Most of the time, we stay here at our house. And it's a completely different feeling to live here when our sons are gone. And it's nothing against them, but it just helps us to be able to have the time and the energy to be able to focus on each other. So that's one way that you can be super intentional in your marriage. But once a year, in my opinion, isn't often enough for us to have that alone time together. So there are a few other suggestions that I would make as well. If your children are young and very demanding on your time, then I would recommend you give them an early bedtime so that you and your husband can have some time alone to talk and to just hang out and spend time together without the kids making demands on your time. Another thing that I love to recommend is date nights. Now, again, these do not have to be expensive. You can do them at home when your kids are in bed. You can have in-laws or your parents watch the kids so that you can go off somewhere, or any family member. If you don't have family members that are close by, another idea is to have a trusted neighbor or someone from church who you trust, or even another homeschool family that you know. Take turns watching each other's kids. There are some people that are going to be in a situation where they have absolutely no one to watch their children, but most of us have someone that lives nearby who would be willing to watch, even if it's just for an hour or two, your kids once a month or once a quarter. You know, anything is better than nothing. Take what you can get and just drive around in the country and talk. Or sit in your backyard and have a campfire and talk. Or if you can afford it, go out to a restaurant, even if it's McDonald's, you know, and have a coffee together and talk. But find times throughout the year when you're intentional about reconnecting with your spouse, because sometimes when we're in the throes of the daily grind, it's really easy to forget that someday our kids are going to be gone and it will just be you and your spouse left there to be together. And will you have a relationship? Will your relationship still be strong when the kids are gone? One other piece of advice I have for you is that you are married to a human being, and your spouse is going to mess up sometimes. So you need to be willing to give your spouse grace. Give them the benefit of the doubt, and they need to do the same thing for you. If you want to have a marriage that is going to stand the test of time, all of the pressures of life and parenting and homeschooling, you need to give each other grace. So I've actually written a few blog posts about marriage and some of the different things that I've learned over the years of tips and different little pieces of advice that I would have if you want to have a long and strong marriage. And I will link to those in the description of this video. And if you have any questions or any other advice that you can share for, you know, how you have kept your marriage strong, I would love to hear about that. Or even if you would just tell me how long you and your husband have been married, I would love to hear that as well. So please leave a comment below and let me know. And again, this is Michelle Caskey from Homeschool-Your-Boys.com, and I hope that you and your husband have a wonderful day.